So what you'll learn today and what the focus is, it's all about local models. So first, we're going to talk about what a local model actually is. Talk about how it's different than all the cloud models and ChatGPT and, all those things. I think the most important question is like, when do I use one? Why do I use one? So we'll answer that. Then we'll talk about how to use it. And then finally, at the end, I'm going to talk about and show you the latest local model first app that we've been building. One thing I want to say before I get into it, this app, we worked on it for a year. This app is not vibe coded. So just want to be clear, this is something we spent a lot of time on, not normal in today's world. We probably should have launched it a year ago, but we didn't, which means there's just more in there. All right, but I digress. Can ask me as many questions as you want about that later. But right now, let's talk and get back into the real deal here. So what is a local model? It's simple. It just runs on your computer. That's why we call it local. And we all know what a model is. So I didn't put what is a local AI model, because when we say model these days, it means AI model. But in case you want to know, it's these AI models. So this GPT thing or this Opus thing or whatever, those those are things you usually run in the cloud, or not usually. They're usually run in the cloud most of the time, probably all the time. Local models are ones that you can run on your own computer. Fairly simple explanation there. Okay, now now we're going to start digging a little deeper. So cloud models run on someone else's machine. And again, just explaining this stuff so it's just absolutely clear. There's no ambiguity about the difference, right? What that means is they run in the cloud, they run at data centers, all that stuff. This is why we have all this talk about data centers and how fast Elon Musk is able to put them up and all the rules that everyone's breaking and all that. It's because, and all this money going into data centers. So if you think about this, and I'm going to give a quick anecdote right now. I have a lot of local machines here. I can look at 2 here, 3 or 4 there, maybe 5 there. There's 3 here and there's 2 there. So I'm a little crazy about this stuff. We've got a bunch of machines here. But what I realized when I first started getting some of these is I'm like, oh, if Mark Zuckerberg and all these folks have all these data centers and they're spending all this money on it, then I might want to do my version of that. And at the time, it was like when local models weren't even as good as they are today, uh, just back in February, to be honest. I bought a bunch of machines. So here they are. And one of the main reasons is because we are spending money with the cloud and these providers. We are also stuck with them in a lot of cases where if they go down, like ChatGPT did the other day, I don't know about you folks, I still use that quite a bit. I use Claude too. I use Grok as well, especially Grokbot these days. But when it went down, I was disappointed. And I was actually trying to do something. And I actually probably noticed it go down right when the status was updating and there was nothing on Twitter. But I'm usually not that person to say ChatGPT's down. Oh my God. Although that gets a lot of views and likes and all that good stuff. But anyway, it was down. It was disappointing. But I also had a ton of local models sitting, or machines with local models sitting here. So I wasn't like shit out of luck, as they say. Anyway, there's a bunch of other things with local models, just like with anything else in the cloud, where the data is going up to some servers. And to be frank and honest, you don't know what's going on with it. I'm not at all like alarmist on any of this stuff, but I do want to be clear about what happens. Like your data's gone. It's in the cloud. Sure, you can turn off all those settings and stuff so that they don't train on your data and all that. I'm not even worried about much of that. But the bottom line is the data leaves your computer. That's really the bottom line on that. Okay. So again, data does not leave your computer with a local model. So very simple cloud model, data leaves your computer. Local model, data doesn't leave your computer. And local model means the model is running on your actual machine and not in the cloud. Okay, cool. So you're probably wondering, okay, talked about local models. Hopefully everyone understands them and I can stop being pedantic about it. But at the end of the day, the next question is, okay, what are these things? Well, they all have weird names, first of all. Weirder names than weird. So, and there's more than just these. But basically, these are like some of the leading model companies in short. And there's new ones coming out all the time. So there's a company called Poolside that has it. One of the folks the ex-CTO of OpenAI, she has a business. She put out something called Tinker, all that. It's a model and this and that, training and a bunch of stuff you can do. So there's a lot of messy stuff here. But one of the cool things is that like Google has open models, Meta has open models, Qwen is an open model, I believe, from Alibaba, if I'm remembering that correctly, and if not, it's from someone else. It's one of the companies that are in China, and people release these models. They release them on a site called Hugging Face. I'm not going to even get into any of that today because we're not going to need to, thankfully. Not that there's anything wrong with Hugging Face. It's just another GitHub. Maybe I need to do a session on Hugging Face if people want to talk about it. But bottom line is these models are hosted somewhere very similar to GitHub, and you can download them and use them on your computer. Okay. So that leads us to when should we be using local models? All right. So I wanted to really think about this, did actually a bunch of research. I've been in the space a while in terms of AI and open models and, all this stuff, or local models and OpenClaw and Hermes and all that. And if you folks have been here before, I've done a lot of these topics, plugins, skills, etc. So I wanted to really dig in and figure out, okay, what are other people saying? I have my own opinions about it. Thankfully, most of this stuff aligns with my opinions, but a lot of people care about privacy for good reason or bad reason, doesn't matter. They care about privacy. It's their data, right? So basically, it's private. They don't leave your computer. The words, whatever, doesn't leave your computer. So that allows you to protect essentially your sensitive data, right? So that's number one. That's like one of the reasons people just flock to these things when they have these privacy concerns. It's low latency, which is actually somewhat important because what that means is that it's just quicker. You're not going to a server and then bringing the data back to you. So that's pretty awesome and makes it so that there's a bunch of stuff you can do that would actually be a little bit harder, if not a lot harder, if at least a lot more expensive to do with cloud. So that opens up use cases is what I would say. I don't think we're quite there yet in companies realizing that, but it is true. Okay, it's free. Literally, it's free. It's just whatever your computer costs, whatever the electricity costs, all good. You can use it. So there's no per use cost or inference fee or any of that stuff because you're running it on your own machines. This is why I have so many machines here. Okay, it's yours. So no one can go take it away or do anything like that. And they basically, it's yours. Like you can do whatever you want with it. You can even do local training and all these other advanced things and make it more your own. And then last but not least, it's always on. So it'll work on a plane. It'll work offline. The products I built that are local, they can work offline too. In fact, they have no cloud service going on except just to update the apps. Everything else is just done locally. Okay, so what do you give up? Because can't talk about this stuff unless we talk about what you lose, right? Because no one likes to lose things. Okay, so they're smaller, which means in theory, they're not as capable. I say that in theory because they're getting better. Lots of them are capable. Even the ones you can run on relatively low RAM, 8 gigs, 16 gigs of RAM, there's stuff that's really useful. I can give examples later, but a simple one that I would give today, right now, is there's apps that you can download that let you do transcriptions and take audio and transcribe it. They use AI models and things like that. So, yeah, totally doable. Okay, then one of the things about the local models is they should be focused on more, I don't want to say simple tasks, but just not as hard thinking because the cloud models and those, and even the larger models that are local, they will do harder thinking and that's good. Okay. And then obviously, depending on how much RAM you have on your computer, you can run different ones. And then the way I think about it, which I think if you look at Twitter, X, there's a lot of noise about this last point, which is that, oh, they can replace cloud models. No, we're not just sitting here saying they can replace cloud models. It's just not true. The one on your laptop cannot replace cloud models. Even if you have machines like I do with 512 gigs of RAM, even if you put four of them together and run one of these big cloud models, it will work. It will just work very slowly compared to the cloud models. So you should just be super aware of that as well. And so the way I think about it is you're augmenting what you're doing with local models. You're not replacing cloud models today. In the future, this might totally be a thing, but the thing is, the cloud models will get better too. So I don't know if there's ever a future where local completely replaces cloud unless you have a lot of heavy machines and lots of machines, but it will likely get better and better, these local models. So what we have today, if we froze the cloud models in time, at some point in the future, you probably will be able to run on a relatively low grade machine that doesn't have a lot of RAM. This is where we're going, but we're not there yet. And I don't know how long it's going to take. No one does, but the cloud models and the larger models are going to keep getting better too. So just be aware that the goal isn't to replace the cloud AI, but you can use it for a bunch of things, like I said. So here, I think sensitive data is a big one. Can't access the internet, huge. Something that needs to be really quick, totally. And my favorite, because this is the most useful, is when you're doing a bunch of routine, repetitive stuff, the local models can be just way better than cloud. And then cloud, you want the best thinking, the best model, you still have to go to the cloud. Many options for that, not just ChatGPT or Claude. You just don't want to set anything at all up or deal with anything. Although I'm going to show you the easiest ways or easiest way to use cloud models, or I'm sorry, local models. And then if again, laptop has CPU, storage, things like that, and it's limited compared to what you probably can get in the cloud. So some of those use cases are relevant too. And then, if you want something that someone else is building, and it has all those features, projects, and custom GPTs, although that's not a thing, and the way the plugins work and skills, then using like a Grok or a Claude or a Chat GPT is still going to be generally a better experience. So this is the kind of contrast here. And again, just to reiterate, most people are using both when they start using local. I haven't met anyone that just uses local 100%, uh, except the people on Twitter that like to say they do, but they really don't. So, yeah, let's just make that very clear. Okay, how to use a local model. So I'm going to go through this quickly and then give you the easier way. So first of all, you need to select your model. Lots of different ways to do that, but having an understanding of this is fairly important. So here's kind of a quick heuristic. Uh, Llama is very general purpose and default. We can argue about whether it's good enough or not, or whether Meta did a good job. But ultimately, a lot of the models that people produce or train on and things are derivatives of Llama because they were the first, I believe, or if not, very close to the first to put out something significant that works really well in the market. Mistral is another company that has a bunch of models. They're just smaller and they optimize for working on machines with less RAM and things like that. Qwen is pretty awesome. Frankly, they have a ton of different models. They've done a bunch of things to compress them down. Again, we're not going to get into those topics today, like quantization or anything, but they did that so that the Qwen models are actually pretty good. And if you ask me just today, Qwen and Gemma are the two that I would go poke your nose in because those seem to be the ones that on smaller machines work pretty darn well. And I'm doing a lot of evals and things like that. I had a session last week on evals, doing a lot of evals on these kind of open sort of models and local models and trying to figure out, okay, which ones are the best for my use cases. Qwen and Gemma tend to blow a lot of things out of the water, except obviously DeepSeek, which is next. That has built a bunch of models and is pretty good, but they tend to be larger and they're built for, as it says here, reasoning and coding. And then Gemma, that's been our favorite when we build products. Between Gemma and Qwen, those are the two. But one of my products, not the one I'm going to share today, because it's the one I'm going to share today is literally the first day I'm sharing it, is Typeahead. And that one we use Gemma models. We use Gemma 4. When Gemma 4 came out they used to have Gemma 3, then they came out with Gemma 4. Our product got like 2 or 3x better. Everything got better. And same amount of RAM that it uses. So these local models do keep getting better regularly. And even as of late, Meta has launched a new model called Muse, which is not on this list. Still, lots of people trying it. Don't have good data on it yet, in my opinion. But it is another attempt at them putting out open models. So this is just the thing that's going to continue. That's why I'm really excited to talk about it because we're going in one direction where we're going to use local models and cloud models. It's just inevitable. That's where we're going. Next, what you would do is you choose a tool to run these models. Ollama is the main tool. They do have a desktop app and stuff, but the main way folks use it is through command line. So you would type in this Ollama run Llama 3.2 after you get it in there, and then you basically can go chat with it. It's in terminal, and they do have a desktop app now too, but if you really want to play around with this level of stuff, LM Studio is probably the bigger kind of suggestion that I would give you on how to do this. Okay, and then the suggestion I would have, this is where things get fun, is basically when you can essentially start playing with the local models. And the first attempt I would actually make is to try things that you're actually trying with cloud models, but on local models, and just see how it works. Because often people ask me, "How good's a local model?" I'm like, "Have you tried it?" And they're like, "No." I didn't try it. Okay, well, like, go try it because you don't need to ask me. You have your use cases. You're already using cloud models. Just do these couple steps, download the thing, and try it out, and you let me know what you think. So, yeah, like that's like the quick way. I would suggest Ollama or LM Studio, but I have a much better way that I want to share today. So let's get into that. So this is actually the easiest way. I hope it's not arguably because it's my thing. But basically, and this is, I guess, the reveal. So I'm sure some of you have used Granola and products like that. We've been working on one. It's called Noats, and I'll get into it deeper and happy to answer any and all questions about it. It's at noats.ai, Noats.ai. I'll share the link a few more times. But let me break down what I mean by this is the easiest way. So it's a meeting note taker. I built it with a friend called Sam, and basically it does live transcriptions. We'll let you do speaker names and the notes and all of that stuff. As I told you folks, this is not a vibe coded product. Yes, we built it with AI, but it's not vibe coded. We did not build it in a week. We've actually spent the last year figuring out this product, our opportunity, how we want to think about the point of view on it, and things like that. The world has kept changing quite a bit in that time. To be frank, though, until like maybe a month ago, I didn't feel like the product was good enough. And at least half of that problem was local models. So something has changed, in my opinion, where these local models, and something is, they're just better local models, frankly. And these local models are actually able to do this stuff. So if you download Notes, yes, you will have to put in your email because we want to know who you are so we can get your feedback because we're at a feedback stage, but I can dive into that a little bit later. But it'll download everything for you. It'll run the local models for you. It's all done in one click. It's all done during onboarding and you're set up. And then you actually have utility from it. It's a note taking app with a meeting recorder and you can chat with things. So let me break all that down and see what you're going to experience when you download it. So it's literally two steps. You don't have to use any terminal where you download. If you'll notice here, we're not even letting you use one model. There's two models. There's an AI model that lets you chat and lets you do a bunch of other stuff the product has. And then there's a transcription model. Like I mentioned earlier, there's products you can download and do the transcription. I have one of them now. And we download those models for you. And then the product works beyond just a regular note-taking app. And we give you 4 different model sizes to service your Mac. You'll notice it's 5.2 gigabytes. The one that it says here, the Qwen model, one of the reasons I like Qwen, which means it could run on an 8 gigabyte RAM machine. We do recommend 16, but it will run on an 8 gigabyte machine. And then there's bigger models. We have one that's like 17 gigabytes as well. That's a Qwen model, which lets you do more powerful stuff and is better if you have the RAM. So what we did, and again, if we launched it a year ago, we wouldn't have done this, but we launched it now. So we did this because there's just more options. But basically, you have local model options. And in this product, if you hit cloud, you actually have cloud model options as well. And you can use the cloud, not just local models. This wasn't possible before because a lot of the things didn't exist in the way we wanted. So you could put API keys and stuff. But the most interesting one is that we actually connect to your ChatGPT subscription. And so if you have ChatGPT and it's installed, which really just means, well, you need codecs installed. If you have that installed, we tell you quickly how to do it. Then we're actually using the cloud models as well. And we're doing a hybrid of local and cloud for it. So I think that's kind of where a lot of the world is going. And one of the things I really wanted to do with this product is show both of those things. Because I think it's important for people to see that it's not one or the other. You actually can do both. So if you did want to use cloud models with the tool, you absolutely can. And it just works on your ChatGPT subscription or via API keys. Super easy to use because it's just a simple demonstration of a use case. Notes, transcriptions, granola like, all that kind of stuff. It's all kind of put in here. And then we also have a chat. So if you're in a meeting, you can ask a question during the meeting. You can also ask a question after the meeting and run a chat with it and talk to it. So that's basically what you can do. And if you have the cloud model hooked up, it'll use those. If you just have local, it'll just use the local models. And as I said, everything you saw runs on your machine. Of course, you can hook into the ChatGPT subscription and then you're getting that data sent to the cloud if that's what you want to do. Yeah. So this is the site. Also, the site wasn't vibe coded. So I hope you like it. It was actually designed by Sam. We took a bunch of time to make sure that it felt right. So yeah, please, everyone go to notes.ai. Give me feedback. I have lots of rants on this product and why we're doing it like this. One that I wanted to share for anyone that geeks out on product is basically this. I used to be adamant about calling things early access, not beta. And the reason for that is early access implies exclusive, not buggy, things like that, right? I still would do that in vast majority of cases. But you'll notice it says beta everywhere. Why does it say beta? Well, when you click the join the Mac beta, you'll see some micro copy in the modal that shows up to put in your email so you can get the download. But the whole point is we want feedback. That's it. Because there's lots of mics, computers, different configurations. So we need feedback so we can actually make the product work across everything. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. It actually works really well. Like we've been working on this product for a year. I've seen many builds of it, many iterations of it, and it actually does it. Okay. And there's one last thing on the product. So what you want to do next, try Notes. Please try it. I really want you to. It's free. Doesn't even leave your computer any of the data. And give me the feedback if it works, doesn't work, whatever, because that's what we're looking for. Um, then try it if you want. Try a general purpose local app if you want to go a little deeper and start like playing with it. You can use LM Studio or you can run Ollama. Again, a lot of these products also have desktop apps and stuff like that. Okay. And then the last thing about Notes, I said there was one more thing. If you use Granola, there's actually a Granola importer. Because our stance today is not that we're trying to necessarily replace Granola, but that'll be revealed like over time. So if you want to bring in Granola, you can import it. You want to replace this with Granola, I'm not going to stop you if it does the job for you. I don't know why we're paying for SaaS tools that we don't need to. That's one of my big gripes. And that's why I'm so hot on local models. Because if we can do this stuff locally, privacy is one thing, but just the fact that we don't have to pay for this stuff is kind of the issue.